Without doubt, Thriller owed much of its phenomenal success to Michael's dazzling performance in the famous 1983 television special to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Motown. Ironically, however, it almost didn't happen.
We were doing the TV show, and the word came back that Michael couldn't do it because he was doing too much television. And I called Michael up and I said, Michael, I know you and you know me, and you know this television show is not a television show, this is Motown 25. And he said, I'll be there. And he came there, and then he did the moonwalk.
In the middle of a rendition of Billie Jean, Michael debuted the legendary dance move that was to seal his reputation as the greatest innovator in pop music. The performance, witnessed by 47 million viewers, was declared a career-defining moment by commentators and drew comparisons with appearances by the Beatles and Elvis Presley on The Ed Sullivan Show in the 1960s. Developed by Michael after studying the great master of mime, Marcel Marceau, the moonwalk has since become one of the best-known dance techniques in the world. Right at the very height of his powers, however, Michael was headed for a date with destiny that would have serious physical and psychological repercussions in his life. A year after releasing Thriller, he signed a record-shattering deal with soft drink manufacturer Pepsi. The $5 million partnership was the first sponsorship deal of its kind and would form the basis of celebrity endorsements of the future. The idea was to lock Michael into a decade-long partnership that would help Pepsi challenge Coca-Cola's dominance of the market. On the 27th of January, the stage was set for Michael and his brothers to perform Billie Jean as part of one of the Pepsi commercials. During filming, a pyrotechnic effect went wrong. The explosion showered Michael with sparks, setting fire to his hair. 3,000 fans watched in shock as paramedics covered his head and carried him away to hospital. As Michael began the agonizing recovery process, which included surgery to hide his scalp burns and an introduction to prescribed painkillers, his faithful fans gathered outside the hospital to wish him well. As well as donating $5 million from the Jacksons' Victory Tour to charity, he co-wrote the single We Are the World with Lionel Richie to raise money for famine relief. Delving into their little black books of A-list artists, he and Lionel pulled in a who's who of the music scene. The single ended up featuring the singing talents of stars like Bruce Springsteen, Dionne Warwick, Tina Turner, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, and Cyndi Lauper. Produced by Quincy Jones in 1985, it ended up selling more than 20 million copies and raising millions of dollars for the poor in the U.S. and Africa. Around the same time, Michael was engaged in a well-publicized battle to buy a catalog of songs by the Beatles that had come up for sale the previous year. Rumors abounded that Michael's aggressive bid had caused a rift with his old friend Paul McCartney, with whom he recorded the hits The Girl Is Mine and Say, Say, Say. Ironically, it had been Paul who had first put the idea of buying the music catalog in his head by telling him how much money was to be made in publishing royalties. And in actual fact, when the Northern Songs catalog came up for sale, although Paul had considered launching a late bid for the songs in league with John's widow, Yoko, he had pulled out of the race, leaving Michael to battle it out with other serious contenders in negotiations that lasted 10 months. He ended up winning the catalog at a cost of $47.5 million. As the 80s wore on, media attention began to focus on Michael's perceived eccentricities. What was really going on behind those aviator sunglasses? First, there was his pet chimp, Bubbles. Then there were reports that he slept in a hyperbaric chamber, talk of plastic surgery, and rumors he bought the bones of the Elephant Man. Many of the rumors were claimed to have been leaked to the press by Michael's own publicists. But despite his insistence that such stories were pure fabrications, the nickname Wacko Jacko stuck. Appearing in public hidden behind a face mask only fueled speculation about his increasingly idiosyncratic behavior, which was rumored to involve bleaching his skin. Michael hit back with claims that the marked change in his skin color was caused by the disease vitiligo, which needed to be covered up with makeup. Through all of the media's attacks, the fans just kept on coming. Swamped at public appearances and record signings, Michael Jackson had become a modern-day Pied Piper of Hamelin. And although he often felt stung by the stories in the press, he clearly reveled in the superstar status that set him apart from ordinary mortals. Wherever the man in the mask went, he was met with a media frenzy. And like the ringmaster in a three-ring circus, he never forgot his role as entertainer and knew exactly how to work the crowd. Whether popping in to share an intimate photo opportunity with children at a local hospital, making a dash for the limo in front of the paparazzi, or entertaining his beloved fans from the roof of his hotel building, the king of pop never failed to turn on the charm.
Through the years I worked with Michael, the greatest moment of my life was that moment after the show, or a couple days after we would do a photo shoot, when I would show him the bulk of the pictures, and he would look at them and he would say, "That's magic. That's magic." And this is Michael's life. It's all about magic. It's all about creating that magic.
And there was plenty more magic to come. Back in the studio with Quincy Jones, Michael was preparing to release his 7th studio album, his first in 5 years. After recording 30 tracks for the new album, they cut the selection down to 11 songs, and Bad hit the shelves on August the 31st, 1987.